free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Welcome to Take It from the Ironwoman. My name is Susanne Mueller, your host and the Ironwoman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Ironwoman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. Take it from the Ironwoman. We only have special guests, and today we go to Dr. Nadine Kelly. And I have to say, I probably met her virtually, obviously, in 2019 when I started my podcasting career. I remember her as her laughter, but then also she's a doctor, a retired MD, podcaster. I'm wondering, what else can we find out about Dr. Nadine Kelly? But first of all, welcome. I'm so happy to have you today.
Thank you so very much for having me. It is such a pleasure, and it's a pleasure to connect again after such a long time.
So what have you been up to since 2019? The world has changed, I would say, in the last 6 years.
Oh, my goodness. Since 2019, since we met, I was able to be a part of the Akimbo community where we met. And I took advantage of so many opportunities there because I will say I definitely feel that one of my values is having a growth mindset. I was open to not just taking the podcast fellowship myself and starting my own podcast, but then helping others develop their podcasts as I was asked to be a coach and gladly accepted. That led to more opportunities for coaching in different workshops in the Akimbo world, like the Creatives Workshop. I taught in the coached in the Alt MBA, the Freelancers Workshop. So it was just a way to really immerse myself, I would say, in an education that I really wanted to be a part of, that I felt excited about. When I compare my training, it was very much academic and didactic and goal-oriented towards one thing. I trained to become a medical doctor. Specifically, I trained to become a pathologist, the doctor who uses the microscope to make the diagnosis to help the treating physician give the correct treatment to the patient, whether it's cancer, non-cancer, or an infection or another disorder or benign kind of thing, to help guide them. That training took me 4 years of medical school, then 5 years of residency. Then I did a year of a specialty residency, a fellowship in cytopathology, where that was even more specialized, looking at particular cells to help make diagnoses. And then I went out to the community and I practiced for 7 years. It was always, again, very goal-oriented, and it felt very confining. The only time I felt a little bit of a sense of freedom and the art of the practice would have been in cytology, where my fellowship, where I was able to go see patients, ask a patient why they or how long they had this particular lesion, what it felt like, and then to be able to use my eyes, my ears, and my hands to help make a diagnosis, to help make a patient feel better, to give them some sort of reassurance, some answer. I really loved that year. And unfortunately, in the community, I really didn't get to practice much of that. So I really was deep down inside craving the more of a playground, creative way of learning. I found that in Akimbo with Seth Godin and all of the people he surrounded himself with and who wanted to be a part of this universe. I was finding the classroom that I always wanted to have. And since then, that was 4 years of my life. And then after that, it was kind of a continuation where I've been working a lot on rebranding. I was originally Yogi MD for a while, and that was my first podcast. And I decided to rebrand because I wanted to integrate my health coaching for women, my podcasting, my teaching in a more cohesive way in one place. So I decided to call it NPK Health Integration. And the podcast is Health Raisers. I rebranded that as well because I wanted it again to feel fun. And I think learning can and should be fun. I don't like just being fed information and having to memorize and not really having the opportunity to understand more of the why. For me, Health Raisers, it's cheeky because I have a bit of a potty mouth. So I kind of played off of the idea of Health Raisers instead, in that I get to talk to experts and different people in my community, people that I might never have expected to meet across the country or different countries, about these different, seemingly disparate ideas, but they are all cohesive if we want to stay healthy. And so I really explore the 6 dimensions, which are social, emotional, mental, physical, intellectual, and spiritual health. They all work together. They all feed off of one another. Nothing is ever perfect, but if you are open to keeping an eye on the different aspects of your health and trying to do the best that you can in that moment, it makes for a more satisfying, healthy life rather than something superficial, such as just counting numbers all the time, because I did that for a long time. The number on the scale, the number of the dress and all that. And it just became very tiring. And it didn't feel, it left something to be desired. And I wanted my health to mean more and feel bigger than I had.
So much to unpack. When you said like 4 years in medical school, 3 years in the residency, and another year, so it's like, or 5, 5 years, and then another, so that's 10 years of like analyzing, labeling, thinking. What I also hear is like, maybe these were the building blocks. It needed to happen. At one point, it's okay to, I don't want to say memorize, it's okay, because I think once you memorize it, you can forget it, and it's not the healthiest way of learning. But then you are able to create your own learning and what you want to take away. So I'm talking about learning, listening, and leading. So you did learning, the learning, the unlearning sometimes, and the listening is with the podcast, and now you're leading the way for healthier health risers. And what I also like on your podcast, it says, don't survive, thrive. When I was reading this, it's like elevating yourself and learning from others and also learning with others. I listened to the forest bathing and also the library person. So 2 interesting podcasts. What you said is also, you can invite whoever you want, experts, something more fun. We can learn from every person.
Everybody, yes.
And the drumming, I was inspired. I was like, doctor and drumming and laughing. Listening to you, it's exactly probably what was missing. It was all that analyzing and serious, theoretical. You needed to have that yin and yang in your life. Is that a fair assumption?
That is absolutely spot on. It was very serious and everything felt very heavy and grave, and time and place for everything. But when it's not balanced, that's when there's this lack. As a pathologist, I learned very quickly that we can't take our lives for granted. This is your time, and it's up to us to take responsibility and make the most of that time. See, that was another place where I learned that I needed more than the serious. I wanted to be playful. After I retired is when I was early 40s, when I went to take my first drum lesson at a school where mostly kids were. I felt this need to express myself in this way. Now, is it something that's going to be professional or whatever? No, it doesn't have to be taken very seriously. I've had fun with it, connected with people I would have never imagined I would connect with through the drumming, because I took the first lessons with one person, then I moved on with another teacher. I stayed with him for a long time. But then when I moved from that local where I was having in-person drumming lessons, I moved to Michigan, and I kind of let the drumming lapse. But then I started to feel like it was missing. So I decided, online learning is becoming kind of a thing, and I should try to find someone virtually. And actually, the person that I talked to first was someone I had on my podcast. I had taken a course about how to become more focused, how to practice, because if you're alone practicing, you're not a part of a band or whatever, there's ways to think about how to structure your practice. He had this really interesting online course, people around the world. I joined that and we kept in touch. Then I reached out to him and I said, would you consider giving me lessons? He's located in Tennessee. And he was I really appreciated his honesty. He said, I've tried this before. I don't want to disappoint you. I may have to travel or do something different. And then I don't want to keep canceling on you. But I have a wonderful team of people. And there's one person in particular I think would be great. Let me put you in touch with him. I have been with Tim Buell since, I think it is late. It's 2020. I've been taking lessons with him virtually in Nashville for many years now, 5-6 years. And he and I were supposed to meet. He teaches in a way that's yes, he's very serious about his craft, and I learned specifics, but he also taught me to be more open-minded and not just look at music as
another theory, like from your doctor thinking.
Exactly. Not to overthink it. There's a time and a place for that. Yes, you must practice techniques, but that's not the be-all, end-all in music. And it led to creative projects. Entered a contest for like 3 years in a row. And I also drummed for my opening music for my podcast. This was all Tim's grooming and encouragement to encourage the play drums.
Yeah, not
perform.
Yeah. Play. The playfulness was lacking in a way.
Yes. He helped me even listen to music differently and not just dismiss something. I don't like that. Okay, let's talk about why. What are the actual reasons? Let's put words to this and let's explore more. Let's give chances to different genres of music and let's learn about the history of and why they do X, Y, or Z. So it just became, again, another opportunity to have a playful playground where I could use my body, I could use my brain, I could use my eyes, I could use my ears, socially very healthy because I connected with the person who gets me. We've become really good friends too. I've visited him several times. I've seen him play in concert twice. I would have never been able to have these opportunities or these connections if I had stayed in that early box. Yes, I needed that. But I also needed to learn that it was not my last resting place.
Seems like you're opening up the Pandora box, but in a positive way, upwards, rather than going deeper and finding mistakes. And I think it's sometimes a good mistake to make. So when you say playing the music, let's leave some chance there. Or what about if you make a mistake? I wouldn't hear it. You probably made a mistake.
And that's a really good point because that is something that Tim helped me unlearn too. It's still a process, but you're seeing and hearing minutiae that your audience who just wants to enjoy and listen and be a part of, they're not grading you like you think they are. So that was something to open up inside me as well and to recognize the level of self-criticism and how hard I am on myself, which you kind of needed to be, at least I did, to achieve my MD. I don't have to use that. It's like using the single tool for everything. It's been a lot of unlearning the serious, heavy, must be perfect mindset.
But on the other hand, we also need to be a perfectionist. Otherwise, you don't get to where you are. But if you didn't have that mindset and now you're added the growth mindset, you wouldn't be where you are today.
That's true. That's absolutely true. But what I did feel was lacking, this perfectionist attitude can become too pervasive and it can become pernicious because you have to remember that you're still a human being as a physician. Sometimes things are going to affect you or there's going to be pressure. You need to be able to have a place where you can put that or express that and not keep bottling it up.
And in your world as a doctor, it's hard, right? So you look cancer and it's all in how I describe it is negative. You turn it around with like focusing on different way of learning with the Akimbo and then the coaching and the podcast. It's okay to have that baseline again, those building blocks, but then you can decide what you want to make out of it.
Help people. It all comes back to that, helping people. That also makes me feel good.
Thank you so much. Elevating us, for giving us a glimpse into your life and learning about how you are helping others and making a huge difference in everybody's life. So very impressive. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I loved our conversation.
Thank you. What a cool conversation. What are you taking away? Don't survive, thrive. Health risers. Dr. Nadine Kelly, what a cool person to talk to. Take it from the Ironwoman. We have episodes every Monday. Come and join us. Learn with others. Learn from others. And Take It from the Ironwoman is also the book Global Business Coaching with Sports Parallels. Get it in your local bookstore or download it. Write a review. And also like us and write a review for the podcast. Thank you so much for your support and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.